how can we explain our work to non-experts by making sure they understand what we mean and at the same time without dumbing it down? So this question is probably one of the most common questions I get in my coaching, during my coaching, from potential clients, prospects, and so on, because people really want to know, like, how do I even explain those things if I have to talk to people who don't know anything about the technical details of my work? So one common misconception that I would like to address before we dig into it is that people think that simplifying something means dumbing it down. And I very much disagree with this claim, because simplifying something simply means invite people in your space. Because let's face it, as STEM professionals, we are oftentimes working with very complex stuff. When I say complex stuff, I mean complex to the general public who isn't familiar with that. Science is very abstract to people. Like, if you would ask someone, what is it that a scientist does for a living, people would say, yeah, they mix some chemicals in a lab or something like that. If you asked people, what is it that a developer does, they would sort of say, yeah, maybe web pages or something like that. But of course, this is not the full big picture. So we have to make sure that we sort of explain our work in a way they can understand us, and that we, as I said before, invite them in our space. What does that mean in practice? This means that whenever you have to talk about your work, and for example, you know beforehand that the audience who is going to read your reports or who is going to listen to your talk aren't people who are from your specific field, you have to, if you can find out what field they belong to, that's super helpful. But even if you don't know that, the idea is to ask yourself, what is it that they need to know about my work? What is it that I have to say in this presentation so they are sort of get a sense of what is it that I'm doing? Just by asking yourself this question, you are sort of priming your brain into thinking more about them than about yourself. Why is this important? This is super important because when we are explaining our work, it is 100% our responsibility to make sure people understand what we're saying, to make sure that people are given a window of opportunity to understand what is it that we are working on and what is our specific thing that we are doing and our work in general. So we have to think about them more than we think about us. And this, to go a little bit more tangible, this really reflects on the way you speak, on the sentences you write, and on the slides that you design. So before you do anything, you just stop for a moment and think about the people who are going to listen to you. And then when you've done your reflection on that, you ask yourself, what is it from all of my work? And sometimes our work, let's face it, feels like a mess. Like, we did this and this and this, and how does this all connect into something that makes sense? So if we feel overwhelmed, the question that really cuts the overwhelm instantly is, what do I need them to know? Chances are, or what do I want them to know? Chances are they don't need to know every little detail. They need to know the general picture, the main result. What is the purpose of your work? Why your work is important? So all of those things are something worth explaining, because all of those things really help painting a picture in their mind of what is what is it that you're doing, why you're doing it, and most importantly, why they should even care about it. This is something similar that I mentioned in my other videos, like how does this impact them? This is something that we have to explain, because this is what really keeps the attention. We can grab the attention by saying something interesting, by throwing a fun fact, an example, but to keep the attention, it's really addressing the point of why should they even care about this? Because if they don't, in today's era where our attention spans are super short, chances are they are going to grab their phone and start scrolling and really not listen to you. So ask yourself this: what is it that I need them to know? How can I explain the impact of my work to them? How does my work impact them? Why should they care about this? All of those are great questions to make sure that your talk or your written piece goes in line of what they need and ensures that they really understand what you're talking about. Now, if you want to, one thing is, of course, to know these things, and the other thing is to apply them. So if you want to apply this in a real world setting, guided by a professional, I'm a scientist by training, so I can guide you through this process. I invite you to join my coaching program, in which we do exactly that. So we take your examples, your situations, for example, job interviews, investment pitches, or project proposals, and we work on those specific examples, and we make sure that you explain them in a way that people can understand, and at the same time in a way that it's not causing stress to you. Because very often some of my clients come to me and they say, yeah, but I feel so stressed every time I have to prepare a presentation, write a report, or communicate my work in general. And this happens because the stress is caused by the fact that we don't know where to start from. The fact that we feel so lost of what we are supposed to say, how to say it, how to explain it, what goes where in the presentation or in the report. So this is what causes the stress more than the action one has to take in order to finish that work. So if you're interested in this kind of coaching and this kind of help, I will leave a link down below in the description where you can schedule a completely free discovery call in which you can discuss exactly those issues, like your specific challenges, your specific issues. What is it that you would like to work on right now when it comes to your STEM career and communication skills? And see, of course, if we are a good fit to work together. So to finish this, I hope you found this video useful, and see you next time in another video. Bye bye.